Hello everyone. Today I am going to tell you the four main spheres which are Geosphere, Atmosphere, Hydrosphere and Biosphere. The Geosphere is the part on Earth that has land. It can include soil, islands and rocks even. The Geosphere also includes the thin layer of Earth which is the crust, the thick layer of mantle and the outer core and inner core. Now I'm going to tell you the five physical layers of the geosphere, which are lithosphere, asthenosphere, mesosphere, outer core, and inner core. Hydrosphere is the part on Earth which has water. This can include lakes, rivers, valleys, and oceans. The hydrosphere, which is the part on Earth that has water, can come in any sort of form, like solid, liquid, and gas. Also, there's freshwater and saltwater. Saltwater has a lot of minerals. They are typically found in the world's oceans and seas. Freshwater has fewer minerals. They are typically found in rivers, lakes, reservoirs, creeks, streams, and glaciers. 97.5% of the Earth's hydrosphere is saltwater and 2.5% is freshwater. Most of our Earth is hydrosphere. Water is in a gas state when its temperature goes above 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Water is in a solid state when its temperature goes below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Atmosphere is the part on Earth which has air. This includes winds and even includes the oxygen we breathe, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, and others. Earth's atmosphere consists of seven layers which are the exosphere, thermosphere, mesosphere, stratosphere, ozone layer, and troposphere. Now I'm going to tell you what each layer is about. The exosphere is the planet's first line of defense against the sun's rays, comet rays, and asteroids. The thermosphere is the fourth layer of Earth's atmosphere, which absorbs the sun's radiation, making it very hot. The mesosphere is the point of minimum temperature at the boundary between the mesosphere and the thermosphere atmospheric regions. The mesosphere burns up most meteors and asteroids before they are able to reach the Earth's surface. The stratosphere absorbs energy from incoming ultraviolet radiation from the sun. The ozone absorbs a portion of the radiation from the sun, preventing it from reaching Earth's surface. The troposphere is the lowest layer of Earth's atmosphere. Many types of clouds are formed here. Now let's move on to biosphere, which is the part of Earth which has life. This includes humans, plants, and animals. The place where an animal lives is called an ecosystem. The place where a plant lives is called a soil. Now I'm going to tell you how Geosphere interacts with other spheres like Biosphere, Atmosphere, and Hydrosphere. An example of how Geosphere interacts with atmosphere is erosion. In erosion, materials are worn away and transported by natural forces such as wind or water. An example of how Geosphere interacts with the hydrosphere is weathering. Weathering is the breaking down or dissolving of rocks and minerals on Earth's surface. An example of how Geosphere interacts with the biosphere is that the geosphere reflects the sun's energy back into the atmosphere. The biosphere receives gases, heat, and sunlight from the atmosphere. It receives water from the hydrosphere and the living medium from the geosphere. Now I'm going to tell you how atmosphere interacts with the other spheres, which are hydrosphere, geosphere, and biosphere. An example of how atmosphere interacts with the geosphere is that tall mountain ranges interact with the atmosphere by causing uplift on the windward side of the range, usually producing heavier rains on that side, and the rain shadow on the leeward side, where it is so dry and gets less rain. An example of how atmosphere interacts with the hydrosphere is that the atmosphere holds heat and moisture, while the hydrosphere stores water vapor. The interactions between the two help to distribute heat and moisture around the planet, which create climates that are suitable for life. An example of how atmosphere interacts with biosphere is that we rely on gases for life. We take in oxygen for life, and plants take in carbon dioxide for their life. Now I'm going to tell you how hydrosphere interacts with the biosphere, geosphere, and atmosphere. An example of how hydrosphere interacts with the geosphere is that the shape of land affects where and how the water collects. An example of how hydrosphere interacts with the atmosphere is the water cycle. The water cycle is the continuous movement of water within the earth and the atmosphere. An example of how hydrosphere interacts with the biosphere is that the hydrosphere provides water for organisms of the biosphere. All living things depend on water. Now I'm going to tell you how biosphere interacts with the other spheres, which are geosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. Now I'm going to tell you how the biosphere interacts with the geosphere. Animals can physically waddle in the water landscape, such as volcanic islands. Now I'm going to tell you how the biosphere interacts with the hydrosphere. The biosphere can alter parts of the hydrosphere chemically. For example, let's take algae. If algae in a pond becomes very abundant, they would turn the pond green and make the pond very murky. Now I'm going to tell you how the biosphere interacts with the atmosphere. The biosphere can exchange gases with the atmosphere. For example, let's take plants. They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen. We take in oxygen and then release carbon dioxide. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Also, watch my other science tutorials.